Anthony Jones, I had such a great time listening to you at the NEO Summit last year. I was a little surprised though. You come from Ducks Unlimited, which just kind of blew me out of the water. It wasn't what I was expecting. That's a unique background to bring to the nonprofit sector and to bring to kind of the social expertise you have. Tell us that story.
Yeah, Katie, and thanks for having me on today. Yeah, it's been a lot's actually happened since that conference at NEO back in September of last year. But just a little bit on my background. So, as you mentioned, I started working for Ducks Unlimited back in 2002. So I spent pretty much 19 years, my entire professional career, working in the nonprofit sector. When I was working at Ducks Unlimited, I started out working as a webmaster in 2002, and then as the digital revolution took off, in the last 2 decades, as email marketing evolved, as social media came onto the scene, online fundraising, I had a really unique opportunity to build a team and build a program from the ground up there. Had an amazing career. We raised over $40 million for the organization through our digital channels. And yeah, and so that's actually where I was when I was speaking at NEO last September. And since then, I decided to make a shift and start my own business, helping individuals, helping businesses and nonprofits use LinkedIn to amplify their mission, to help employees build their personal brands. And that's what I'm doing now, and it's been a great run.
So why LinkedIn? I mean, I think of all the, and I mean, there's a lot. There are so many social platforms available to us and available specifically for nonprofits. Why is LinkedIn such a great fit?
Yeah, if you were to look at most nonprofits, like most nonprofits, when you talk about their social media strategy, if they were to list out the platforms in order of importance, they would probably say something like, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. And at the bottom of that list for most organizations would be LinkedIn. And in my opinion, that's a really big mistake. It should be flip-flopped because these are like what I like to refer to as the good old days of LinkedIn, because there are more than 750 million people who have an account on LinkedIn across the globe, but only 1% or less than 1% are posting content on a regular basis. And LinkedIn, unlike all the other social networks that are out there, has not become oversaturated with content. If you're not paying for ads on Facebook and Instagram right now, your content isn't being seen at any real level of scale. But that's not the case on LinkedIn. So, like, now is the time for your content to be seen and for your voice to be heard and for your mission, your organization's mission, to really show and attract donors on LinkedIn.
That's so interesting. And come to think of it, we have a partner organization, another educational institution that we work with fairly frequently. And they recently posted that they are just pulling out of Facebook because they can no longer demonstrate the ROI when it comes to their time and their creativity to pour into that platform. And it's also surprising, or not surprising, I guess. I know a lot of nonprofits that don't have LinkedIn company pages. Is it as important to have the company page as it is for maybe the ED or the CEO to have a profile?
Yeah, that's a great question. And to your point on Facebook, I think that's a trend that you're going to see more and more, both for profits and nonprofits. They're having more trouble justifying that ROI for a lot of different reasons. As the ad platform has shifted, as there's been a lot of changes to iOS and the impact that's having on Facebook and Facebook ads. But to your question, yes, LinkedIn organizations on LinkedIn should have a company page, but it's as important, if not more important, for the staff to be active on LinkedIn because people connect with people, right? So it's great to have your organization have a page, but the true power of your organization, if you want to show your brand, your culture, and your values, the best way to do that on LinkedIn is through the voices of your employees. And yes, I think you had a great point. It starts with your executive director, it starts with senior management. But ultimately, if you can encourage all of your employees who have a social media presence to be active on the platform, that's going to do more to amplify the reach of your mission on LinkedIn than anything else. Because again, people connect with people and not the typical corporate content that so many nonprofits and for profits post on their company pages.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So you know this probably better than most, but I'm not going to say we are humble in the nonprofit sector, but we perceive ourselves to be humble in the nonprofit sector. And so I can see some pushing back against leadership developing profiles and investing time into developing status on LinkedIn. But I mean, based on what you just said, it's actually for the mission, it's for good. Am I hearing that wrong?
Absolutely. In today's online world, we all have a personal brand, right? If you are online in any capacity, you've already established a digital footprint. So you basically have two choices. One, you can choose to take control of your brand, to position yourself as a thought leader in your industry and showcase your personality, your skills, and your expertise, or you can let your brand be defined by others. And that's kind of what I preach and I help folks with is to put yourself out there. And once you start doing that, you will see that it has a lot of benefits, not only to the employee who's doing it, but it also has impact to the organization they work for in terms of the content they post and yeah, my mind just went blank there. Sorry.
No worries,
Told you
no
what
worries.
happened.
I I get that though. I mean, we kind of preach that if you don't distinguish what your brand is or who your brand is, the marketplace will for you. And sometimes it's not a glowing result. I think that's a wonderful way to kind of convey the importance to nonprofits. Absolutely.
And if you look at most organizations, most nonprofits, their executive leadership teams aren't overly, they're not really that active on LinkedIn. They'll post when there's a job opening, or they'll post when a new board member comes on, maybe, or there's some big announcement, a big success on a project or something like that. But they're not showing up on a regular basis, showing their authentic personality, showing the work that their teams are doing. And that's the opportunity that folks have, especially in the nonprofit sector right now, is that there are so few organizations who are doing it and doing it well that it's a great way you can stand out from the competition.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Get your company profile, get your personal profile set up on LinkedIn. If you are watching the live stream, thank you for watching this. The full episode, and I would encourage you to listen because we're going to talk tips and strategies next, will come out on all the major podcast networks on April 29th.